Alright guys, thanks for watching those commercials. We're gonna hop right into the game. No dilly-dallying. Game number 3, the semifinals. Both the semifinals went to the ace match, and I think that's always awesome when that happens. But spawning here at the bottom left corner of the map, playing for Root Gaming, it's gonna be the blue Terran player SuperNova.
Never right as the red Protoss, Axiom's Alicia.
So a very interesting question came out of chat towards the end of that game, because I did kind of make that joke about map hacks, guys. I will stress, SuperNova is far from a map hacker. He streams like a freaking lot. It'd be pretty obvious if he was. But the question that followed that up was, how did he know that all-in was coming? He didn't necessarily, but that's the thing with Terran. If you ever get worried about a Protoss, the bunkers are so cheap to salvage, it's almost always a good idea to throw down 1, if not 2, at your natural, if you're just not entirely sure what's coming. Now, of course, it's once you realize with that SCV scout that there was like 7 gateways down, we saw him throw down this extra 2, and it makes a little more sense. But I think every Terran player comes into this matchup with a little more paranoia than the Protoss.
Yeah.
Of course,
SuperNova's like, what?
I was gonna say oracles as well. Let's not forget about those lovely devices.
SuperNova's a guy that goes in between phases of like being, you know, the nice, like, you know, good, smart Terran that builds a second bunker when he doesn't know what's going on, and being like, you know, I guess like Flash level, 4G level, like no bunker, dies stupid things. So apparently today it's pretty safe. So that is a good suggestion. Like 1 bunker always, a second bunker if you just have no idea what they're doing. There might have been something to be seen about like the lack of a mothership core early on that he read into, or maybe got, you know, eyes on the second gases again and we didn't notice. I don't know, but I think it was just him playing really smarts. Although he still lost out in the end. Protoss, am I right? No.
Well, I think one of the other things that had to be a little bit of a weird red flag was no mothership core when he got up there with his Marines. There was just the stalker, and if you're not putting 100 gas into the mothership core, where is that 100 gas going? That's the biggest red flag when you're like, wait a minute, what? Why is he letting me kill probes? The mothership core should have killed me.
So that definitely explains the missile turret that went down first, right? Like,
yeah,
no
I think
core,
he
maybe really fast DTs or Oracle. Yeah, so that all makes sense, but obviously that attack was just a little too powerful anyways. If that third bunker had gotten up, if the SCVs had gotten a full surround, maybe a little bit different. But that's kind of a, like, that's a build order that's been lost for a while. 7 gateways against Terran that doesn't have
like,
blink.
They kind of shifted that to Zerg and only Zerg.
Yeah, basically, pretty much. So it's only gonna be a once in a series type of thing. Doesn't mean he doesn't have other cheeses or all-ins up his sleeve. I mean, the Protoss really do have tons, especially players that are as old as like these guys that we're casting. Like, I know like the Kane was joking about Gumio's mic or whatever in the last series, and how like, you know, bio player, mech player, and I'm like, you know, that's a funny joke and everything, but you know, it just reminds me, like, all these guys, SuperNova, Gumio, Alicia, they've been playing this game for basically all 4 years, right? They've gone through every single like meta cycle. They've gone through every single time you couldn't play mech or you couldn't play bio. You couldn't be not defensive.
Yeah. Like
they have a very, like, 4 years of varied builds that you can bring one back and hope that it just is weird enough to work.
Well, I think too, for Alicia's sake, I always like to think like the Axiom House is a bit of a think tank. You have seriously some of the best minds of StarCraft 2 there. I don't know that, you know, Crank's necessarily massaging Alicia's shoulder saying, all right, man, you can do this, just do this and do that. But it's one of those things where if you are a little bit frustrated, you can throw your headset off real quick and be like, yo, Crank, what do I do game 3? I no idea. Alright, so the mothership we're going to be chased here by the Marines. Really dangerous move out of Alicia to do this, but he's flying out with the starport and looking to see if it's clear to go oracles. I do want to mention, because it was asked in chat, what were the bets looking like for these series. We got 4,413 Partoofs bet on Alicia, and a little less than that, 3,400 on SuperNova.
It is a starport versus a stargate, so you weren't wrong.
Oh, hey, thank you. Cover my ass.
So this will be this is where like the timings are very important. Does the medevac push out first, or does the oracle like show itself first? Because depending on which happens, you might keep the Widow Mine at home and get a free oracle.
Yeah, timings are always awkward. It's the worst feeling in the world as a Terran player when you leave your base with a medevac. You kind of count. You're like, all right, 7 minutes. I've seen an oracle. Let's go. And then as you leave, the oracle comes, and you can't unload the Marines one at a time. Like, that's not
always the case too. There's never a situation where that oracle doesn't show.
Oh, but he's gonna fly on top of the Marines. Doesn't get a kill on him, but revealed. And now SuperNova knows he can't go push. Not quite so freely. A turret comes down immediately, but he's gonna be in a bit of trouble.
Where did Widow Mine go? I know we got one. Well,
he's got 2 of them actually, and I don't know where they are either.
It's somewhere. Oh, they
Oh,
are
command
actually
center.
right next to the command centers. They are super secret hidden. There we go.
He's gonna get it. Nice shot out of SuperNova. I mean, we as the observers can't see that. There's no way Alicia did.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Actually, I really like when they hide it above the refinery too, on that little north ledge.
Yes. Yeah. Above the scanner for the orbital is just the most dirtiest thing ever. It's like, thanks Blizzard for giving us a perfect like hiding spot.
It's like the circle of the scan. Yeah, the dish is like the circumference of the wood mine too. Works out really nicely, but he sees the pylons coming down. Now he's gonna be a little bit worried because SuperNova doesn't have the most information. You know, he lost that Reaper. He doesn't know quite what's coming, but he's gonna, with good control, drive back a couple of the stalkers.
Yeah, that was pretty bad. The Widowmine, you know, I noted that SuperNova only picked up one, and he just planned it back down once he saw this attack coming. So he still has yet to do the actual Widowmine attack, and he's reducing Widowmines since we were started. He's actually going up to 4. He's gonna have some for defense and some for dropping, and then if any survive later, you could always drop in the mid game as well.
Well, that nasty Oracle is gonna be a bit of a nuisance to the SCVs trying to build things, but the mineral lines are protected, so this shouldn't do too much damage. You might get a couple SCVs here, but again, limited by energy.
Yeah. Behind this, Alicia did go to a Robo and a Forge. That Stalker Warping that we saw seemed to be off the back of 4 gateways, so it could have turned into a 4-gate pressure. Obviously, you kind of get like nipped in the bud, though. It's gonna happen. He's not really prepared for this drop. Yeah, I mean, kind of. That's not enough units to actually kill the Widowmine fast, or both Widowmines fast enough.
Ooh,
Not even one.
Focuses the Sentry. That's kind of an interesting shot.
You need to really focus the Widowmines. How did I not go on anything?
Oh, the Observer. He killed it.
Well, I know he killed it, but I think there was some, like...
I know, there's like that 1/2 of a second, like a quarter of a second delay. Yeah.
Lucky Alicia.
Like that could have, should have, would have gotten off in another world, another time. But Oracle's still alive, by the way, so it's up to 6 kills. Still, though, the Marines are staying at home and not going to let this just get free reign. Speaking of rain, we tried to get him to play for the OlimoLeague today. I messaged Penguin about it. It's just like, prize pool too small, no thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, Rain. It'll be some good games. It'll be good times. I mean, if you think you're good enough, it should be an easy walk of the coin.
Am I right? Like, start taunting him.
No, actually, I read this up not to take a shot at Rain, but it's really cool because, like, guys, if you don't know, like, a lot of the times we get people to play for the OlimoLeague, they just didn't know what was happening on this day because it hasn't been consistently on Saturday for a bit because of course, scheduling issues with other tournaments, major events, and sometimes all it takes is a tweet. Like, I just 2 hours before the tournament went live, I was like, "Hey, Balloon, come play OlimoLeague." He's like, "Okay," signs up, no problem. Sadly, lost in the first round today. But if you guys ever have friends, favorites, pros, like, don't be shy, tweet them. Just, hey, ask them to play in the OlimoLeague. A lot of these Koreans love fans, guys. Like, they really love their fans.
Alicia did the Warp Prism behind this. I really like SuperNova's attempt to get a Widowmine to block out a potential, like Stalker or Warp Prism. Okay, that Oracle died. It didn't really work out, however, and there's an Observer on top of it now.
You know, SuperNova's, I mean, his harass hasn't been bad, but it's been like kind of equivalent to that of Alicia, so no one's really getting ahead by, you know, these minor drops or that Oracle. But I do like this big push coming from the south. This is where it gets a little bit scary, because Alicia's not on Colossus deck. He doesn't have Storms out. Or, sorry, I shouldn't say he's not Colossus deck, but he doesn't have the Colossus out yet. The Extended Thermal Lance might not be finished for this attack, and if SuperNova moves in at the right time, he might be able to just pick off that Nexus.
The Observer is over that Widowmine, so the Stalkers... Yeah, okay. Good thing they didn't derp over that Widowmine. 2 bunkers on the way? Let's see. I guess he saw the lack of a third and was really worried.
Yeah. No threat like this is a bit scary, but realizing that, okay, there's a big Terran army right here. Tries to get back home with the Stalkers. Gonna try to blink up the high ground.
There is no blink. It's just barely unfinished.
Just barely not done yet either. So this is going to cost him all the Stalkers. The Colossus can't really chase this either. He knows it. Runs back up to that high ground. But can this Nexus defend? It's going to be the big question. It's going to have the biggest amount of damage here despite the Colossus being present, because this Colossus can't fight without Extended Thermal Lance. If he moves into the Marines, they're just going to stim in and kill it.
There's harass going down on SuperNova's third. You'd have to lift it, but that's really no problem. It would have been much worse if it was still building and you had to cancel it. This is actually not that big of a deal.
There's one of mine here as well. Should be able to pick up. For Alicia's sake, though, one thing I'm a little concerned about, like, his upgrades aren't quite where you'd expect them to be. We usually see Protoss chrono this out. You know, you're on +2 on your way to +3 when Terran's just finishing 1-1. SuperNova's upgrades aren't exactly fantastic either, but Alicia, I don't know. Wait to see what he spends that chrono on. He's been just getting probes for the longest time.
SuperNova just stopped getting upgrades. At the very least, see 1-1 just seems like very convenient to start the 1 armor after the 1 weapon. There we go. I mean, there's not really any build that I know of that stops at literally just 1. There's like 2-1 and then SCV pool. But just 1 would be like, I think, more oversight than planned build. Anyways, he still has a couple Widow Mines. They're always going to be helpful. Like, even the fact that they have to micro against it is helpful. I don't know if you guys play Protoss, but it is actually rather annoying to do so.
It's such a minor thing, too, that gets overlooked. But nice snipe on that Observer. So SuperNova kind of blinding Alicia yet again. Not as like his last Observer by any stretch of the imagination, but his Stalker count's kind of dwindled. Normally, I'd say this is a bigger problem if there were Vikings in play, but there's not. And Alicia this time, he's playing a lot more aggressive. You know, constantly poking SuperNova, making sure they can do some damage. That War Prism's going to go down, sadly. I don't know if you realize he took that Widow Mine hit. The bunker's going to hold, and as Alicia, well, kind of loses all his presence on the other side of the field.
Yeah, Alicia did, and SuperNova also has to pull back, so that's good though, because I think he has an eye. Widow Mine is checking that third. It's possible that Alicia takes the one in front, but unlikely. So he's thinking that there's going to be an all-in or an attack or whatever you want to call it, and without upgrades, without a third, I think you can call it an all-in. There's no further tech either. It's going to be Blink, Stalker, and Colossus.
Alicia's down in supply count, but what concerns me is not that the supply is lower. I mean, he's got effective army, but it's the Stalkers might not be enough to deal with the Vikings. I mean, this is a fight that's going to be very hard to take one way or the other. The Vikings come in unscathed. Stalkers blink to the south. First Colossus is going to go down here pretty quickly. He's got another one coming to the front lines. Forceful's going to force this army to fight in that Time Warp, but if he kills enough of the bio, the Stalkers might be able to blink behind this. But Marauders are so damn good versus Stalkers.
Yeah, and they stemmed on top of that Colossus. There's too much area, which is unfortunate because the Time was down and force fields were down. You'd think there wouldn't be, but without Colossus, this attack was so much more manageable.
Yo, this is Zealous without charge trying to connect to bio, and this is why it doesn't always work. And the Stalker count's still high, though. SuperNova's army's not exactly doing too well here, but the Vikings landing now is going to add a lot of extra firepower to the ground, something he was lacking before, but the blink control has been so good out of Alicia, but I think he's just barely out of juice for this. If he had like 5 more Stalkers, this could go very, very differently. SCV's not being pulled to the front lines, but he's starting to run out of Warpins, he's starting to run out of Stalkers, and he's starting to run out of juice.
He's actually not running out of money quite yet. He's actually waiting on the Warp Gate to do things.
Yeah, the
he's banking a lot. If he only had the Warp Gates just a little bit faster, yeah, maybe he would pull a parting, but...
You're right at the end there. That may not have looked that close, guys, but that was so freaking close. Like, if a Colossus has gotten an extra 2 volleys off, maybe if the Vikings hadn't engaged so sooner,